I had opened this box today for my own finances, so I just wanted to blah, 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 shout out a few things that, like, if I talk to you about money, these are the things that I'm going to mention. One day, maybe put more structure around some of these videos, but not anytime soon, probably. It's taken me about 10 minutes to start this video, and let's just get right into it. This is how I feel about finances, and I might bounce around just like I'm talking to you on the phone, because that's how I talk on the phone. Okay, so I just took a look at my finances to see how much I spend monthly, and I'm using YNAB right now, which stands for You Need a Budget, and I started using that because of the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit, Sethi. I really like him. I get his newsletter. He has some really good money psychology, which I might talk about in a bit. But, okay, I just want to brain dump things about money that I've learned, that I do, and I think that this is the best way to do things, because I do things in the best way that I know how. However, if you have other ideas, I'm totally open to hearing them. So I have a salary job, by the way. So my income is fixed right now. I really like the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I really like the book Automatic Millionaire. And both of them, I think, talk about automating your finances. So basically, like, it talks about how the government is smart and it knows that you're not going to, like, a thing in human psychology is that you're not going to just have a huge lump sum at the end of the year to give the government. And so they take your taxes out of every paycheck if you work for a company. And the idea with automation is that you take money out for yourself as well and put it into savings, into your RothIRA, 401k, things like that. And I think the government takes money out for your 401k too. So I really like the idea of automation and having a 6 month to a year emergency fund. Everyone should have an emergency fund, I think, like liquid cash that's ready to go whenever. I have a high yield savings account with Marcus, and I'll drop a referral link down below if you want to join Marcus. I've had a lot of people open those accounts. So basically, you should put your emergency fund and anything. You should only have about like a paycheck and a half in your checking account. You should not have a huge lump sum in your checking. Everything else can go to a high yield savings account so that you can be earning 3-4% on your money instead of much less at a bank. So that's like a given. You should definitely do that for any savings that you have. And you can automatically put money there. And you can also do different accounts, like different buckets. Like I have an account that's like sinking fund, emergency fund, car fund. I think that might be all I have right now. But so then I have a little bit going to each every month, or a lot sometimes. And this is what I've heard from podcasts recently too. So yeah, have an emergency fund. And then after that, oh yeah, also like I max out my 401k. I think I do the actual max, but you should at least do what your company matches and then maybe more. Roth IRA, I maxed that out, and I only started maxing that out after I started automating that. So I use Vanguard for my Roth IRA, so that because that's the one that I know of that automatically can take your money out. So that's like $580 something a month, $583, because nobody's going to have $7,000 just laying around ready to go at the end of the year. I never did. Like, that feels really like too much money, but $500 a month when I don't even have to think about it, like, I've been hitting that goal because it automatically comes out. I forgot that my computer will go dark. Okay, so I have 401k go out. I have Roth IRA. Pay yourself first. And then I have money going out to the high yield savings accounts. And then if I have any left over, or like I do at least 100 a month, I try to automatically through Robinhood going to index funds. And my Roth IRA is in VTI, which is the S&P 500. And then I have my Robinhood in another one of those S&P 500s, which is VOO. And you hear it all the time, like, don't try to beat the market. Like, you can if you want to be fun. If you have money you're just playing around with, like, I've put thousands into crypto when I was just playing around. But when you do that kind of stuff, like, that should be, I think, extra fun. And you need to be okay with losing all of that. So index funds, pay yourself first. Always, always pay your credit card off. Interest rates, like, you don't want to pay interest or have your credit score go down. But I've never missed a payment. So I set up automatic payments on all of my credit cards as well. I recently started to use Bilt for paying my rent, so I can use points on it, but I'm not that good at using points, which is why I canceled my Chase United card, because I wasn't using my points. What else can I tell you? So I generally, like, every once in a while, I'll put in all of my fixed expenses and all my variable expenses. I used to do this all in Excel, and I did just make a big Excel sheet to see, like, what ideally do I want to be spending and saving monthly. And through that, I kind of get the actual too, because I know where I like highlighted the things that I want to be saving more in or spending more in. But one area of growth is saving for vacations, because I used to have super cheap rent, so vacations did not feel that big of a hit. Like, I felt like I could just not save as much that month, but now I'm feeling like I'm going, and the bigger trips that I want to take, I want to be saving over time to pay for travel. And honestly, I haven't traveled that much, and I feel like it's easier when, this is going to make me sad, but it's easier with a partner. Like a boyfriend, I'll travel and I'll book 5 trips a year, 4 or 3, but alone it's harder for me even to do a weekend trip. And I try to with girlfriends and friends, but sometimes it's just hard to get aligned, you know, with timing and finances and everything. But for example, like, I was going to go to Europe this summer on a Kontiki trip, a group trip, which I would like to do sometime, but I was like, man, this is a big chunk of change. And if I want to do this at any point, like, because it's like $3,000 just for the group, and then I don't know, $2,000 for the flights, probably, then a few other thousand for being there, maybe. So I don't know, that's a big hit, or I would want to save that over time in a specific fund. So I would open a markets account for that, but I'm kind of not doing that right now. I was going to do that this summer, go on a trip, but instead I decided to focus on my art, my content, and figuring out how to make money through a business, which is what part of this is. But I decided I wanted to build a business, and that something in my ideal life would be to just be confident about clothes and my style. And that's why I hired a personal stylist and did a few sessions with her, which was a few $1,000s, like basically going to Europe or a little bit less than that. I decided to spend on that instead of traveling. And often I'll spend on things here to make my life better day to day than travel. That's just how I am. Like, this is what Ramit says in his I Will Teach You to Be Rich book. He talks about different money dials, like which categories are most important to you, like what things do you not really care about, and what is super important that you would spend more. And it's like a given. Like for him, he says like he'll always spend more on or he'll always buy books, for example. I forget what else, maybe convenience. I don't remember. But there are different categories, and health and wellness for me for sure is like given. Like I will for sure spend money on that. I love spending money on acupuncture, on therapy, on coaching, personal trainer, that kind of stuff. But then travel, I am okay not spending on that. And also convenience or eating out, entertainment, like isn't as high of a priority for me. So yeah, lots of interesting things with money psychology, limiting beliefs. I'm going to keep on brain dumping about money. So I realized literally today that I had a limiting belief about, I just had this rule. A limiting belief is something that like affects your decision making and the way that you are in the world, maybe, that you usually are not even aware of. So one of my beliefs that I had that I didn't realize was I don't know how to frame this in like a belief, but I didn't want to spend money on a business before I made money with that business. And so I've been feeling a lot of like anxiety about spending money on my CapCut Pro, my domain name, my CRM for my newsletter, Google Drive storage. Even though it's $2, it was freaking me out and giving me such analysis paralysis because I had this belief that I can't spend money until I make money. So everyone has limiting beliefs and also just money mindset things that they might not be aware of. And you have to kind of uncover them and address them. Or you might want to. I want to because, yeah. So, like, I think Tony Robbins used to say that one of his limiting beliefs, I don't know if it was him, like, rich people are bad or something like that. Or rich people are not happy is a limiting belief you could have when there are plenty of rich people who are happy, who are generous, who are kind, nice, generous people. You know what I mean? But if you think that rich or wealth causes broken families or something, like, you're not going to make decisions that make you wealthy because you're not going to want that broken family. You know what I mean? I think that was in the book Psychology of Money. That's not, the other two books I like more, but Psychology of Money is good too. So yeah. What else? Money, 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 money. I love talking about money in sales. It's a thing to talk more about money. My mom is in sales, so she's been super open about it. And I think it's healthy to talk about it, because how else are you going to know what to do and what's out there? Like, I loved at my first job, everybody talked about how much each other made. So then you know where you're at. And if you're getting compensated fairly, and maybe you need to move or go for a promotion or just advocate for yourself or negotiate. Every time you switch jobs, you should negotiate. It is hard. I know one of my close friends hired a negotiator to help her negotiate for her job. And like, that's one of the times that you have the most leverage, is before you accept an offer. And that can really, like, your base salary is a really good way to level up, you know? So yeah. And this is the first time in my life that I'm like right at par with, like, I'm paying what I can afford in rent. But in the past, I was paying way less than I could afford in rent. And I'm realizing from doing my monthly expenses that to live comfortably and save the amount I want, do the luxury things that I like, that feel like my rich life, to save, invest, and save for travel and stuff, I want to be making about that same amount more. So like the jump in rent that I made, I want to make that amount more every month. And that's what I'm going for. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to figure out how. So yeah. And so this is making me just like feel money more. Like, I know what it can get me. And yeah. Oh, one of the money dials is your car, for example, or transportation maybe. Like, I don't care that much about. I just want a car that gets me, that's safe and gets me place to place. But some people value that above other things. I don't know, probably housing. I should honestly just like put up a picture of the money dials. It's a good thing to think about. But yeah, automate your savings. Do the high yield savings account. And yeah, investing in yourself is interesting. So I'm paying a lot more in rent, but I would not be working with my business coach, and I would not be creating content if I lived with somebody. Like, the amount, it makes me feel like small right now. Like, you know, I'm already afraid that my neighbors are going to hear me. But living with somebody else, like, if my roommate was next door, like, that energy and also them hearing every word, like, I would not be as delusional or open and like free and dreaming super big and creating content, like putting myself out there, if I had a roommate. So like, and this is honestly something I wanted to do like my whole life, but I was always kind of embarrassed, because like, it's kind of embarrassing showing up like this if people are hearing you and watching you, you know? So this makes me feel very safe and comfortable, and I'm like really excited and happy that I get to try this. And this makes living here so worth it, and paying more so worth it. And again, who knows, but like they say, you can make money with YouTube. And I want to also do, so I'm doing coaching, which again, a lot of like dreaming big conversations and stuff that I would be kind of embarrassed to talk about if I had a roommate, but kind of like therapy. Like, I used to do therapy in my hot car, like in the summer, because I did not want my roommate to hear. So that's just me personally. I know people do all of those things, and good on you if you are not self-conscious about that. And I worked really hard, and I did get to a point where I was way less self-conscious, but it makes it easier being alone, I think. Which also makes me think, if I have kids, if I have a family one day, I don't know. I mean, I think at that point I'd probably get more comfortable, and it would be my family that like I'd probably feel comfortable making content. But I'm just like, I'm enjoying this space where I'm alone and can do whatever I want without anybody around. Perks of being alone. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I have a coach, but then also I want to start life coaching and having one-on-one sessions with people, talking through things, helping them live their best life. And I am more comfortable doing that in my home without anybody here also. So this is all an investment that can turn into money too, like with the coaching and leading group sessions. The fact that I have a group come over every week for the Artist Way to go through those exercises together. Yeah. All of these things make this space super worth it and valuable, and like is helping me grow, live my ideal life, and making me feel very fulfilled and expressive and taking up space. And all of these things can be leading towards making more money as well. I also want to say, like, it's not a bad thing to want more money, and it's not a bad thing to do things for the money. Like, one thing that I realized is I want something that has the exponential potential for income, which is why I want to have my own thing on the side with that. And I love having my salary job, and I'm so grateful and thankful for it because that's very stable. But I want also something that's variable, where I could be making no money, could be losing money, like play around with it. But then the potential is like the sky's the limit. So it's fun to like play around with that. And I've liked, I think I've talked about this before, but oh my gosh. Yeah, I could go into this, but I like the idea of like me being my best self and learning more, and everything could turn into more income. Also, just how money can reflect the impact that you're making and the amount of people that you're impacting and the value that you're offering. I really like that. So when I did in high school, I taught swim lessons and kind of like just made a sign and started teaching and making up swim lessons one-on-one and group. And I decided the rate, and then I would get referrals and stuff. And I just really like that process. How you do better, the better that you are, the more value that you're offering, and you get to decide the rates and everything too. Versus teaching yoga, I would make $25 a class, no matter if 25 people came or 1 or 0 or 60. So, yeah. And yeah, if they refer their friends, like I wasn't going to make more money. But I like when my effort can be reflected in how much I make. And it's a fun game for me too. So, yeah, I don't think it's bad to want money. I like being generous. I want to share everything that I have and that I make. And just thinking about some other concepts. I had one other thing. Oh, manifesting. I don't know how that is going to play into this right now. But yeah, I think those are pretty much my thoughts on money. And basically what I do. And it also doesn't need to be a stressful thing, but look at your finances. I do like YNAB. It's the one app I've used for now 5 months, and I think it is worth it. I like it. I like Marcus, Vanguard, Robinhood. Those are just the things I use. There are a lot of things out there. Search up high yield savings accounts. I don't know as much about like points and credit cards, and I don't travel that much. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at, what I've learned, what I do. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. Open to any books or people too, because I do like listening to podcasts about this stuff, reading books, watching YouTube videos. I think, yeah, this is one of the areas that I want to be excellent at. And you can't, it's like anything, like the more that you know about it and practice it and make things habitual, like the better off you are. And the Automatic Millionaire is a good example of that, like talking about it doesn't matter really how much money you're making, but you need to put money away and invest in everything. And you could end up better with more in retirement than somebody that made 5 times as much as you because of how you manage it and just how your lifestyle is and how your habits are. And it's good to be aware of what's coming in, what's coming out. But honestly, it's hard. Sometimes I really don't like looking at this stuff, but it is good to look at it, to be aware, to be open to feedback, to be open to new ideas. So I hope that this gives you a glimpse that is reassuring and validating for you, or maybe you're like, what the heck is this girl doing? And then tell me in the comments how I can be doing everything better. But that's just the way that I think. And if you have any like money mantras or like opposite of limiting beliefs that you really like, let me know. Like one thing I've been hearing recently that I like hearing is owning your own business, you're going to have the most potential for freedom and income. And I like that. I like that idea. And I also like the thing about it's okay to want money. Money gets you things. They say in sales too, like if you think about a goal that you want, like even in The Artist Way, it talks about like stick a picture of your goal or the vacation you want or whatever on your wall. Maybe I should do that. I don't know what thing I want though. I forget. I guess a vacation. I don't know. I don't even know if I really want a vacation. I just want to be able to have a vacation. Also, people ask me a lot, like, do I want a house? And I don't know if I do. I want to be able to have a house. I also want to have 100 grand. Kind of far from it. But like, those are just some long-term goals that I have, but I don't think those are as important as the systems that you have today. So like, are you saving a little bit or a lot of it every month and putting them in these multiple accounts, you know? I also like how YNAB, your annual and irregular expenses, it helps you track them monthly. So if you have something that you spend on every 3 months, it will give you that breakdown and make sure that you're saving those like $20 a month. Leading up to that, so as I go through my life and I buy things like a domain for $11, it's going to make sure that I save $1 a month so that it's not a surprise hit in 1 year. Same with car registration and I don't know, other expenses. Something I've never done before. Really thought about annual expenses and how they look monthly. So I appreciate that about YNAB. And I think it's also good for if you do make variable income because you know how much you need each month and you can also plan ahead to future months. And it also made me realize like you shouldn't be floating. Like you shouldn't spend things on credit cards that you can't pay off until you get your next paycheck. Like you should only spend money that you have. That's a belief. Could be a limiting belief. I try to only spend money that I have though. And I know people definitely think differently. And I'm open to your reasoning why, but you have to do what's good for you and what makes you sleep well at night also, you know. Yeah. Hot topic, though. It's a hot topic. And good to talk about, like, in relationships, especially. But I want to start the conversation and have more conversations about this stuff with friends. And I'm really excited as I get into the business world and if I get into the content creation world or the coaching world. And I already am in those worlds. It's interesting to think about money and rates and potential and see what other people are charging, for example, for like user generated content, or to hear how much you can make in YouTube after a certain amount of followers and hours and stuff. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I basically strive for excellence in all areas of my life, including balance, but like I want to live a good life, an intentional life, live like today is your first, last, and only day. Like today is your life. All you have is this moment. And so I am very interested in learning about a lot of topics like this. Okay. I'm sure I'll talk about some other random topics like this and just do brain dumps, see what I like talking about, and one day maybe put more structure around some of these videos, but not anytime soon, probably. I had opened this box today for my own finances, so I just wanted to blah, 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 shout out a few things that, like, if I talk to you about money, these are the things that I'm going to mention. So thanks for sticking around with my changes of scenery. I don't know what I want in the background. If anyone wants to help me design, let me know. Do I want floating shelves? Do I want a chair? I'll put my dream chair. I'll put up on the screen from IKEA. Yeah. Decision analysis paralysis with that a little bit. And also, yeah, just holding off because of money. But yeah. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out. Have a good rest of your day.